Hello there, my name is Cherdithan. I am your host for today's podcast. I have my co-hosts Stev and Yvonne here, and welcome to Daily Lives of the Economy of Kosovo. Gentlemen, welcome to today's episode while we talk about the history of the economy of Kosovo.
I don't even think I've ever heard of this place. What are you talking about?
I was going to keep the bit going, Evan. Come on.
Yvonne coming in here with the jokes about not knowing the nation of Kosovo, which is a proprietary of the ex-nation Serbia.
Do you just have the Wikipedia page up for this?
Yeah, I'm like, where are you coming up with this right now?
So when I don't know what to actually say to people or something, and there's like a really awkward pause, I always bring up like, oh, we'll just talk about like the economy of Kosovo right now. Because everyone's just like, because like you'll get one person's like, you know the country of Kosovo? I'm like, are you a fucking weirdo too that you know it? Because I thought I was the only weirdo who knows about Kosovo.
That's a weird thing to talk about just to kill time.
It's a Baltic state, next to Serbia and Bosnia Herzegovina. It's like ex-Yugoslavia territory, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I'm sure if someone from Kosovo or Serbia is watching, they're gonna get really mad at me for saying any of these words, but it's fine. Welcome to America. We're really fucking selfish here. Boys, how are we doing?
Speak for yourself. I think we're doing great. This is the third episode of the podcast. I'm actually surprised we made it this far, actually. I mean,
we
aside from that, we almost did. Can we talk about that for a second? Yes. So, obviously, I guess it's not obvious, but Dickie edits the episodes, Steve handles the social media, and then I am supposed to, go ahead and make sure that the SEO and the title and thumbnail looks good. But, Dickie uploaded the episode, and yeah, it wasn't his fault. YouTube actually screwed up, because YouTube has this thing where they're supposed to go ahead and check it and make sure that there's nothing wrong. You're not, infringing any copyright, so you don't have, nudity or anything weird in the video. And unfortunately, that system that's supposed to take, maybe 20 minutes at most, actually ended up taking over 5 hours, and it just seemed like it would never work. So yeah, we collectively decided, okay, maybe we'll just post the episode tomorrow instead. But eventually we got it fixed, probably because I DM'd Team YouTube on Twitter. And then I didn't see the text in time, but I saw later on that I think Steve, or was it Dickie? Yeah, Steve had texted the group, and everything was fine. The checks were okay, and it was like, when I look at the timestamps, pretty much 20 minutes after I messaged Team YouTube on Twitter, and they responded to me. Even though they said in their DMs to me, "Oh, you'd probably have to re-upload it again, but let us know if it works or not." Yeah, apparently they fixed it themselves.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, because as soon as you said that, I scrambled to make sure the episode was on Spotify. I don't know if it got to Apple in time, but I know it got to Spotify in time, which is really funny. It was what time was it at? 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, and now it's just scramble, get everything up. So yeah, we're all set. Good job, boys. I'm really proud of all of us.
Woo!
As a team, and me and Evan ignoring Steven all day, as we always do when he texts us. I'm proud of all of us.
I only text important things too. Dickie texts long chains about how he needed to eat some meat before we recorded, and the only things I ever text are Evan, I still need the banner for our Patreon, which we talk about in episode 2, that doesn't exist because I don't have the banner because I can't make the Patreon until you send it to me.
Okay, well, here's the fun part. The banner is also now available in the Drive folder, which means it's in the description down below, which means that you guys can check out the Patreon for this episode.
Hey, cool.
Okay,
speaking of...
Steve, you also always text in the middle of a work day. I am physically doing work, and I get a text from Steve. I'm like, son of a bitch, again. And I'm waiting for Evan to respond. And I know Evan's either sleeping, masturbating, or streaming. And if he's not doing those things, he's sleeping.
Okay, probably true.
No.
I know you enough.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say,
Defend yourself. Go ahead.
First of all, I don't masturbate that often. Secondly, I'm not sleeping. I barely sleep. If anything, sleeping is the last or the least thing I do. I'm mostly streaming of anything, right? So
sleeping is
that's
my
reason for not
least
texting back
favorite
on
thing
time.
to do. I hate sleeping, just like I hate spending $1 million. Coward. He's a coward. He was a coward.
What do you mean I'm a coward? Look, the points
too.
I made in that episode were justified, okay? I am not a coward. I am a courageous person, unlike the other.
I can't do this.
Wow.
I hate sleeping. I don't want to spend... You're right, Dickie. So when do we replace him with someone else? When are we gonna get
I've been asking around. I was trying to get Eden to do it, but Eden was barking at me and I got confused. I asked PewDiePie, but he never got back to me. And Scott the Woz, I'm still waiting for him, but his friend, Target Employee, he was in. So I think we gotta replace him.
Oh hell yeah. We can replace Evan with Target Employee.
Not to be confused with Wendy's employee.
Like TikToker?
No, two totally different people. But speaking of Eden, this is a good transition. There's so many good transitions here into this one point. The highlighted comment for this week, because it only went up about 10 minutes before we started recording this episode, and thus is the only comment on the video so far, is Korewa Eden with tall enough, 5'13".
So 6'1".
No, it's 5'13".
No, 5'13", yeah.
It's totally different.
6'1".
Yeah.
No,
it's not.
No.
I don't understand how you're not getting this. 5'13".
Evan, you don't get to have an opinion on height because you say you're 7'2", but in reality you're 4
First
foot.
of all,
So
again, I am tall enough, okay? I feel like you're out here trying to make it seem as though I'm not, but I'm definitely tall enough.
Well, you're not 5'13", so you're not tall enough, according to Eden.
Yeah, so you're not tall enough anyway, so you lied to us again. Unfucking real. This guy comes in here all pompous, being I'm tall enough, and he's not even 5'13". You know who's 5'13" here? Me.
No, you're 6'1".
Goddamn kidding me.
Are we exposing our heights now? Are we exposing heights now? Are we doing height reveals right now?
I mean, we can if you want. Shorty McShort stuff.
Okay, well, okay. No, fine. You want to do a height reveal? We can do a height reveal.
And we're cutting
to
something else. You know what happened to me this week? It was really crazy. Well, I was taking a poop.
No. Not this week. No, we need 1 week without poop, please.
We didn't talk about poop last week. We talked about peeing last week.
You know what? You're right. Can we go 1 episode without... No, you already talked about masturbation. We're screwed. All right, go ahead.
You know what I learned when I was little? It's not no tear shampoo. It's no tears. As in, the shampoo is no tears. It won't tear your hair and everything. It's not no tears. As in, if it gets in your eyes or anything, you'll have no tears. So if you use it to masturbate, you're gonna have a lot of tears downstairs because it's gonna burn a lot.
Why would you use shampoo to do that? Of all the things in the products to use, shampoo.
To be fair, no. Every 13, 14 year old tries
every
it once.
12, 13, 14, yes, everyone's tried it once because they're oh, this is slippery.
I have
works.
literally never tried that. First of all, I didn't even do that until I was 16, and I wouldn't use freaking shampoo. If anything, I would use cooking oil because that makes sense. That
No, do you wash yourself with cooking oil in the shower? Is that
no?
what you
I don't
to
wash myself.
I got a lot of questions.
Okay, first of all, obviously, I'm just saying if you wanted some sort of lubrication, cooking oil makes more sense.
No, but if you're in the shower, you were a 13-year-old's not going to be thinking about, let me go downstairs, get some cooking oil to masturbate in the shower. They're going to say,
I don't think 13-year-olds think of shampoo.
Yes, they do. You're sitting in the shower, and it's right there.
There's a whole scene in Scary Movie 4, the Dimension film, Scary Movie 4, where Mac Miller is talking to Snoop Dogg about masturbating with the shampoo when he was little. It's a whole thing.
What is this reference?
Because I love Scary Movie. They're terrible movies, but I love them.
Okay, I've seen Scary Movie. I definitely don't remember that reference, maybe because I was too young when I watched it. But also at the same time, I definitely didn't masturbate until I was 16 anyway, so it doesn't even matter. I don't think that as a kid, why am I even talking about this? Don't use shampoo is the point I'm trying to make.
Don't use shampoo.
No, don't use it. Use conditioner.
It's just that everybody's done it, and
everyone hasn't done it because I haven't done it.
Evan,
we just established you're a weirdo, though.
This is why Evan's down so hard, because now he's like a curvy rock. He's
down so bad.
Wow, I'm down bad because when I was younger, I didn't go ahead and use shampoo.
Yes. You should have been normal like all of us other boys and just masturbated with shampoo just experience it, because it's a bonding experience. I can go up to another dude at a bar and be like, yo, remember when you were 13 you fapped with shampoo? Wasn't it awful? And they're gonna be like, yeah, it really fucking was. It was the worst.
Bro, I kind of hate the term FAP. Can we talk about that for a second? Like, I know it's just kind of accepted as, like, the term. I just don't, like, I hate it. I've come to hate it.
It's the noise that makes it. Like, you're like, it's like the...
I know what it is. I know it's the onomatopoeia, but, like, I still don't like it. Is that why
it's called that? I've never knew that, actually.
It's FAP.
Most sex terms, like, if they're, like, sound weird, it's usually because, like, it's a noise they make or, like, some random reason like that. When you say bumping ugly, you're bumping ugly.
I have learned something new today.
The dance with the devil?
That wouldn't... No, I don't know where that one comes from. Unless you call your dick the devil.
Yeah.
No, I think dance with the devil... No, because, like, you're not supposed to have... Because... Dance with the devil because you're losing your virginity, A, and B, you're not supposed to have sex until you're married. So, like, you're going against God's will or some shit like that. So, like, that's why it's the dance with the devil, because, like, you're going into the devil's side. That's why it's called that.
But it's not like an onomatopoeia or, like, a literal
Steve, I'm going to onomatopoeia on your face soon.
Oh.
Back to the P. Just never strayed anywhere or too far away from it. It's like...
Is anybody going to listen to this after episode 3 is also about shitting and pissing?
I feel like they're going to understand at this point if I start a conversation where it's going to go. Because, you know, we refrained from a lot of this because I wasn't hosting it last episode. So every time I host it, just assume there's going to be at least like 10 to 15 minutes of us talking about what's coming out of like our body.
Because, like, I told my friend to listen to it, and he was like, yeah, I got about 20 minutes in, and I just stopped. And I was like, try episode 2. There's significantly less shit talk in it. Because, like, every episode has almost been, well, except episode 2, these two, everything that Dickie has hosted, you're right. It's, like, the hard cutoff of who's going to watch it because the first 10 minutes are about shitting. And then there's, like, actual interesting conversations afterwards. But there's only the hard cutoff of, like,
I don't know. I feel like the interesting conversation is about the bathroom talk.
Let me see if we can get some statistics on it. Talk about it while I look at the statistics for episode 1.
If you want to talk about bathroom talk real quickly, I just want to know, out of curiosity, fellas, have you done anything that you might consider out of the ordinary in a bathroom before?
I mean, for me, apparently everything I do is fucking out of the ordinary. I like to FaceTime people while I poop because I get lonely in there. I do battle shits. Like,
you FaceTime people? I thought you just called people.
Oh, no.
No, if I had an iPhone, he would FaceTime me.
Why?
It just depends on...
I'm going to draw a line there.
You know what's actually really funny? Most dudes always hang up on me when I FaceTime them when I'm pooping. Every single girl I ever FaceTime while I'm pooping, they just stay on there like, why? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to keep talking to you though. And they just keep talking. And I'm like, okay, this is how my day's going to go. That's like, it's not like I show anything. I'm a gentleman. So I'll put the phone down when I got to wipe.
But like, are you like, do you mute yourself? Because like when it's coming out and it's like plopping into the toilet, right?
They're
like,
going to hear the fucking plops.
Don't they?
No.
They hear it?
Fucking plops.
What?
No.
I'm not understanding how you get a girlfriend, man. Like, how?
I'm cute. I have a boyish cute
That
charm.
makes sense.
I don't know.
Wait. This is a good transition to get as far away from that conversation as possible.
Do you stand when you wipe? Do you stand?
No. So the other day we were in a call, Dickie and I think I mentioned this, and I want to get Evan's opinion on it too. I think for all people, there are like 3 types of attractive, and no one is more or less than the others. And it's cute, hot, and then handsome for masculine presenting people, and beautiful for feminine presenting people. Those are like the same thing.
Oh, I fully agree. We talked about this. I gave you my list. It took me like 10 minutes to figure it out, but like, yeah.
I mean,
here you go, Evan. You're watching Friends, right?
Yeah.
Courtney Cox is cute.
Yes.
But Jennifer Aniston is hot.
It's hot. Yeah.
They're both like 10 out of 10, but it's a different kind.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. No, I get that. I definitely understand that for sure. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting way of putting it, but it does make sense.
Right? Chris Evans, handsome. Chris Hemsworth, hot. Tom Holland, cute.
That's fair. If we're doing that, I mean, I just want to, Dickie is...
Dickie's handsome.
Handsome, okay. Stevesekai is...
Long since... No, it's cute, at best.
And Evan is...
Also cute.
And the game's over. Okay, never mind.
I'm hot, Steve. I'm hot. I'm obviously hot. What do you mean? I'm definitely hot.
No, Evan, you strike me as a cute.
My girlfriend's trying to tell me.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure.
They're saying I'm not hot.
No, that's not... Okay, no, that sounds bad, Evan.
No,
that sounds wrong.
I'm pretty sure that's what we're saying. That's what I'm saying. Sorry, bud.
Oh, wow.
You have to explain to her.
Evan, I need a gym bunny, and you're not you gotta be a gym bunny, and you're not a gym bunny. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're a bear.
Yeah,
gym bunny
is
hot.
You're not a gym bunny or twink.
I don't have the
sorry.
bubble butts like that you're into, right?
No, it doesn't have to be a bubble butt. Like, I need a gym bunny, and you're not a gym bunny.
That's fair. That's fair. It's the bubble butts.
I don't know if you actually understand it. Steve completely understands the labels I'm saying. I don't know if
yes, no,
okay. What is a gym bunny? I don't go to gym, obviously. What is a gym bunny?
Steve, you have to explain all these because I have only learned these things from roommates in the past. I don't actually know the full definition of all of them.
So you're just saying words that you just
I know, but
out.
I know what each thing looks like. I just don't know what really consists of them.
Okay,
gym bunny. Okay, imagine we're going off of stereotypes. Please don't make us sound like sexist.
Steve,
but
stereotypically,
stereotypically,
Steve
it's
is
like,
bi. He gets a pass.
Steve's like, according to
I'm
the
bi.
Urban
I get a
Dictionary.
pass. I'll fuck anything. I get a
to
pass.
Steven's penis.
According to my Steven's penis
Dictionary.
His
gym
penis.
bunny
Steveness
is like, that stereotype where you're gonna go into the gym. She's got tight / yoga pants on, and
Where's the she?
Wait, I thought you were talking about like a woman.
How the hell could
are you talking about a
twink or
guy?
bear? How could a twink or a bear be a woman? A. B. We've been talking
he
about
was
dudes this
literally
whole entire
talking
time.
about
me.
Gym Bunny.
He said that I'm not
I thought
a
you were
gym
talking
bunny.
about Gym Bunny.
Yeah, so I assumed that
Yeah,
he was
a
talking
gym bunny,
about like
a
men.
twink. I
'Cause
said
I thought you were talking about like a woman.
no.
No, bunny in my mind is like girl for some reason. I thought you were talking about a girl.
Steve,
you started this conversation about like the three attractive types, and you guys were saying Chris Hemsworth, Tom Holland, and how the hell do we jump over? Like, we can jump back over to women. We can jump back over to women. That's fine. But like we're still.
Do you want to know what a gym bunny is? Just look at Dickie. There you go. That's what he looks like.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, okay.
Dickie is the male. Is like the male gym bunny, and a female would be like the one who you see like in the crop top / sports bra thing and the tights, but also kind of like super fit / shredded.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, now I understand then.
Not necessarily abs, like six pack. She would just be trim.
Gotcha.
Six pack is like a whole different thing.
Gotcha.
A great thing. A wonderful thing. If you're a woman with a six pack,
you can shred my face with your abdominals.
Yes.
So you're saying that you're not into me because I'm not one of these gym bunnies then?
Yeah. You're not a twink, Evan. I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's why I don't appear as hot to you.
Evan, if I was gay and I had to pick a guy, I would go for someone that is a soccer player that looks like Cristiano Ronaldo. Like everyone's a little gay in life. And like there's always one person you can be like, you know what, I'll bend over for you. Sure, why not? Whether it's a guy or a girl, there's always someone. And I always say like Cristiano Ronaldo.
There's a lot of someones.
I mean, okay. I can't really fully agree with you there.
Oh, Evan's about to carrot out again. Say he won't bend over.
No.
Evan's going to carrot out.
Evan's going to carrot out again.
Super straight
gender.
I'm
sorry.
Here's the thing, though. But like, obviously, I respect everyone and what they do. Obviously, I'm friends with you guys somehow. But like, at the end of the day,
guys?
right?
Explain what you guys means.
What does that mean?
Wait.
What do you guys mean?
At the end of the day, I have only ever been with women, and I don't really have the intention to be with men.
That doesn't mean that you can't be pegged.
That doesn't mean you.
It does.
That's not where I was going with that. I was just gonna say that doesn't mean you can't find a dude attractive. The fuck that came out of like a left field.
We were talking about bending over.
Me and Evan were like,
that was
yep,
the third line. You were talking about bending over. It made sense.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical because I was saying like everyone has like one man. You're like, oh, that guy's like pretty. Like you see a dilf like going through the gym. You're like, that's a dilf. You're not gonna be like, oh, gross. Like I don't care like how straight you say you are.
No, okay, I guess that's fair, but like at the same time, it's okay to find other people attractive or at least acknowledge their attractiveness, right?
Evan, you call other men attractive more than any gay person I know.
That is really not
and
true.
I think you've kissed,
you
you've
really
also kissed more men than any of us here.
That's also definitely not true. No. I'm not going to get into that right now, okay? I've heard some things. However,
Evan
will
says,
say if you're not
you say
kissing
for content, Evan's
your
in it, no matter
homies good
what
night. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. If it's for content, I will kiss another man. Obviously, it's for content. But that being said, yes, I've kissed the homies good night. Who hasn't? That's something you're supposed to do. It's the homie, right? So that still makes me perfectly, a straight man.
We're going to go to, I think the first special we have is taking Evan to a therapist to talk this out.
Oh.
Well, that too.
No!
I mean, that's pretty much the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a gay bar therapist. Might as well, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's just awful.
One day, Evan, we'll get you accepted. But, I had the weirdest thing that actually happened to me this week. So we had a hurricane that, like, passed through. And it's not very often we get hurricanes up in, like, Pennsylvania. But we had one pass through, and I took a picture.
Ida?
Yeah, it was Ida. Yeah, I'm sorry. We'd Hurricane Ida.
Yeah, I was going to say Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is definitely not famous at all.
What?
Okay. I mean, we had the first capital of the USA.
No, I had never heard of it before he said he lived there, okay? I legitimately had never heard of it.
Yeah, Evan, you're dumb.
Evan.
I don't know what to I don't know what else to say to you.
I'm not from this country. I don't know what a Pennsylvania is.
Moving on, back to my story. So I took a picture. There's like a little stream that like runs behind my apartment, and it was like super like flooding, super like coming towards the apartment. I'm like, I might die. It's probably fine. I accept my fate. I should just open the door and let this happen. But I take a picture and put it on my Instagram story, and there is someone I haven't talked to in like years, probably like 5 years since college, and she messages me and like comments on like the story on Instagram, and she's like, oh, you live at like, and gives my whole entire address, like an apartment number. And I'm like, am I gonna die? Is this how, like, you were really nice in college, but like, I don't know if I'm about to get murdered or something. Like, are you just gonna come and like murk me? Like, what's gonna happen? And then she like ends up messaging a couple of seconds later. She's like, oh, I lived there for like a couple years, like right after college. I lived in that exact apartment. You moved in right after me. And I was like, oh, what? Why didn't you just start with that? Why did you not start with that? Why did you the exact address and like specific details about my apartment? Like, that's weird. That's a weird way to like approach the situation. That's weird, right? That's not normal.
No, that's weird. I used to live there. I know where you live. Like,
just like giving me all these details about this apartment. I'm like, ma'am, I haven't talked to you in years. Why do you know this stuff, and why do you know where I live? But it was actually kind of funny. So I ended up hanging out with her and her husband that weekend. We went bowling with some other neighbors, and we like caught up. It was just like the irony that like we caught up over the fact that she kind of like stalked me in a sense on Instagram. Like, just the other thing is like we don't really. It's not like we haven't talked in years, and it's like she just happened to that day click on my story on Instagram and just happened to know from like a split-second image exactly where I was. Like, that's crazy to me.
Well, that's creepy.
That's normally how it is, though. When you catch up with someone, obviously you have to stalk them first, right? I feel like that's just how all or most hangouts happen with like old friends.
No.
Yeah. Well, no. Yes, you do. No. Hear me out about this. To hang out with an old friend, it requires that you check in on them, and if you're checking in on them to a degree, you are stalking them.
No.
I feel like you could easily just bump
There's
into them.
There's a big difference between texting an old
something.
friend and being like, yeah. But, like, there's also a big difference between texting an old friend, like, hey, what's up? It's been a while. And I know exactly where you live thanks to your Instagram story.
Maybe that's fair, but I personally feel like it's, to a degree stalking, which is probably why I don't reach out to a lot of old friends at all. So, I don't know. I feel like when you make the effort to go on to someone's social media and see what they've been up to and then be like, oh, man, like, we should hang out. I see you're doing this thing in your life now or whatever. I think to a degree that's just stalking.
I mean, if you're looking at something to get information to talk about, yes. But if you're just asking, no.
I feel like, there's a two. Also, I still feel like the majority of my catching up and reconvening with people is just like from randomly bumping into them at a certain place. Like whether it's a store or like at a bar or something like that. Because that happened to me when I was in New York City. When I was walking down, I think I was around 33rd Street, and I was going to a bar with my roommate and my sister. And I hear someone scream my name from across the street, and I'm like, wow, well, either I'm going to get killed right now, or my dream come trues happen and someone just randomly recognizes me on the street. And it was an old friend again from college, and like she was with like two or three friends, and we all went to the bar together, and like that was how we like ended up catching up and everything. And it wasn't because someone decided to stalk someone else's Facebook or Instagram and figured out exactly where they'd be and try to be around that area. That would be weird. Just bumping into someone is normal. That's not stalking.
That's cool, and honestly, that's more likely to happen in like a small town. But the fact that happened to you in New York City, that's actually really amazing.
That's happened a couple times. Actually,
I run into friends in NYC.
Yeah, like literally, like I would just be on the bus or subway, and someone just sees me, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, bud," and like it's like it feels like a 1 in a million shot. But like I guess once you start knowing enough people, especially if you're on the same like neighborhood or train line, you start seeing the same people. Like I would commute to work and see the same exact like 5 people I would always see like on the subway at exactly the same exact time when we'd hop on the N train to get into 49th Street, and I'd always see that we'd all get on together and we'd all get off together, and it would be like clockwork every single day. I never knew didn't know what their names were, didn't know anything about them, but I saw them every single day.
Wow. I mean, I guess it's just different because I've lived in Los Angeles, and obviously, I guess we just see cars and traffic. No one's really.
There's no public transport.
There is public transit, obviously,
but it's not as prevalent.
Yeah.
Prevalent.
And like I don't think anyone really notices anyone. Maybe they do, right? Maybe I just haven't taken enough public transit for that to happen to me. But yeah, that's just really interesting to me that's a thing.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, it just randomly happens. Like New York City is just a weird place. Like New York City is that one place where like you could sell someone into living in a shoebox for like $3,000 a month. Okay, maybe not $3,000 a month, but like you could sell them into living in a terrible shoebox for like such amounts of money. They're more than mortgages around the USA. And like, I think it's just because it's like the place you're at. The same thing with like LA. Like you could sell someone on to living in a shoebox, and you're like, yeah, but you're in LA, so like it's okay. Anywhere else in the USA, you'd be like, what am I doing? But like LA, New York City, it's fine. You could like so. When I was in New York, I lived on 9th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue. I lived in this old pre-war building. It was a disgusting place. I miss it every single day. It was me and my roommate. We had maybe 400 square feet, maybe. And it was a crazy place. Like our bedrooms were connected by a door, so you heard everything from each side. But
oh yikes!
Our rooms were like 6.5 feet by 6.5 feet by 9 foot. We had no closet in either of our rooms. Like it was just a literal box. It was insane. And like the wood floors on the bottom were like peeling off, and me and my roommate would always get stabbed by the wooden floorboards. Our bathroom, so like I said, it was a pre-war building. I think it was 1911 it was built. And back then a lot of apartments didn't have singular bathrooms in their apartment unit. You'd have like a shared bathroom on the floor. So that was what our apartment like originally was. So I think they put it in the 50s or 60s. I forget what like the carved in date was, but like our bathroom, for example, was so tiny. I think it was like 3.5 feet by 6 feet. And it only had this cast iron tub with a shower that would come up to like here on me. Like I'd have to duck under it. Like it was literally, that's where the shower head was. Like it was on my neck, and we'd have to duck into it. Cast iron tub, and then a toilet. There was no sink. There was no nothing. It was just those two things. And like our kitchen, for example, was just 2 gigantic sinks. And you'd like, one was for your kitchen dishes and everything. The other one was like where we washed up, brushed our teeth and everything like that. And in front of it was a window that was so freaking massive, letting so much light, which was great, but you couldn't put like a shade or anything on it really. So my neighbors saw me buck ass naked all the time. And I think within like 2 weeks, I was like, I don't care. Here's my ding-a-ling. Look at my ding-a-ling. Here's my ass. I'm taking a shower. Everyone look at it. I don't care. If you're going to look at me, you're going to look at me. But like we paid
that just sounds awful. I would just rather be homeless.
Yeah.
We paid $2,300 a month for that apartment, and like we could have.
What?
Like, it's because I
would rather be homeless.
It's because we loved being in the East Village. I loved it so much. It was such a fun place to be. You could get anywhere in Manhattan from there, and like that's where all the cool like bars and all the hip things were. You're right by NYU. It was the coolest place to live. Like, and granted, like for that amount of money, you could have. People don't realize, like, yes, it's very expensive living in New York City, but like you can find nice places for like $2,000. Like if you're willing to go into the Bronx, you're going to the Heights, you're going into like Queens or Brooklyn, not Staten Island, because fuck Staten Island, that's a gross place, and nothing about Staten Island is okay and good, we hate it there. But like, if you're willing to like go out of borough, you'll find nicer places for like that amount of money. But like, it was just like, I wanted to be in Manhattan, and that's what those apartments are sold to people like me. They're kids that just want to live in Manhattan. They don't care what it's like. In their 20s, they're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to live here because this is where I want to be. And I can't afford like a beautiful skyrise down there, so like this is where I'm going to live. Because like before then, I was living in Queens in Astoria for like less than that money with another roommate. We did 1,000 square feet or something roughly around there. Huge bedrooms, full closet, 1.5 bathroom, giant living room and kitchen. Place was massive, beautiful. Paid less than it, but like the thing was, you were in Queens, and we were like 5 stops into Queens, and like, and the weekday it's fine, but remember you're depending on public transit so much when you're living in New York City. Like on the weekends, because I worked in TV, I would work every Saturday. So like normally to get to work from where I lived, if it was a Thursday, it would take me like 20 minutes at most. But if on like weekends, it could take 20 minutes if I catch the trains correctly. Or it could take an hour and 20 minutes. And I got so sick of that. And that's the main reason I ended also wanting to move back to Manhattan, was because like I need to get on this train constantly, and I need to be able to have like access to it every single day, all the time, no matter like if it's a weekend or not, because that would just always happen to me where it's like, oh, got to go out of borough. It's a nightmare. And like even going uptown was like a nightmare for that exact same reason. That's why I never wanted to move uptown. Like I had friends that were uptown. They're like, hey, come visit me. I'm like, you're on 160th and I'm on 9th. I'm not going up there. You can come down to me if you want to hang out. Honest to God, that's what's going to happen right now.
That's just really like interesting to me, because like I feel like my idea of New York apartments comes from mostly like, you know, I've seen YouTube videos obviously where they showcase like the really tiny apartments, and I'm like, people really live in this like like some of them just look like hallways, right? I'm like, you just live in this hallway looking place, like what, how? And then like, you know, the other ideology or ideas that I get from apartments or what they look like is from like Friends, where it's like, oh, this is what apartments in New York look like, where it's just, I guess, loft style, more open and huge, which I'm sure do exist, but they're probably ridiculously expensive.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
So, yeah.
Like TV makes living in New York City seem so incorrect. Like you will watch these sitcoms and these people like Two Broke Girls. Have you ever seen Two Broke Girls? You see what it's like living in a city, and it's like, oh, they're dirt poor, but they somehow also live in this massive apartment. It makes it supposed to feel like it's small, but like it's still massive because it's a set. That's not how big apartments are. That's not how regular sized apartments are even in New York City. Like that's like you're living in a box. And the thing is, like, a lot of times when you're living in New York City, you have to pick like, are you going to live in, like, a lot of people will live in those boxes and live in the area they want to live in if they're like going out all the time, because your whole entire existence is like going out. Like you're really not in your apartment besides to eat and sleep. That's about it. Now, like, if you are a homebody that loves to sit in their apartment, watch Netflix, hang out and do things, you're going to need to like move somewhere that's like not in Manhattan unless you got like hella money. Like you could easily live deep in Queens or like Brooklyn and like find a really nice apartment, but understand it's going to take a while for you to get into the city. Like if you work remote or something like that, perfectly easy, perfectly fine. It's not a big deal. But like if you have to work on the Upper East Side and you're like commuting on the 7 line from like Flushing, good luck getting to work on time ever, or get used to having like an hour or something commute.
Jeez. I don't know, man. It just sounds awful.
I feel like everyone has like horror stories though from like living in giant cities though. Like I feel like everyone needs to live in a city once. Everyone needs to live in a gigantic, and I'm not saying it has to be New York City or LA, but like I think everyone should experience living in like a gigantic city at least once in their life.
I was actually in New York City. Not very long, like total like 3 months probably, over 2 years. But because we were only there for like internships, we had to get Airbnbs instead of like a whole apartment. And the second one was like peak kind of what Dickie was talking about, slumming it in New York City. Both times were Brooklyn. We always looked at Brooklyn because it was a little bit cheaper for Airbnbs. But the second one, there were 3 of us, and it just had 1 bed, and said that it could sleep 4 because it was like a queen bed or a full bed, and then this couch that to actually sleep 2 people had, like, you would have had to be side by side. And, you know, 3 dudes, we were like, no. So we rotated, 1 person got the bed, and then 1 week you would get the end of the couch that actually had the footrest So you would lie like with your head to the back of the couch and go out onto the footrest, and the other one was the same way, but your foot was just on this chair that we had to pull over, like this big cushion chair. And it was in the basement, so there was pretty much no window, because the one tiny window just looked out into like an alleyway.
How long were you there for?
A month and a half in the dead of winter. It was January and February.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Because the only heating in there, it did heat it pretty well usually, but it was like a window heater and air conditioning.
Oh, you guys didn't even have like an old radiator, like, because like every single place I've been in New York City was like a radiator, which like the problem with those
we
is
were
like
in the basement.
Oh, I guess you guys wouldn't have, that's insane to me. That's insane, because
we're in the basement. Yeah, window heater, but then that meant the bathroom had no heating and ran out of hot water real fast. So you'd wake up bright and early at like 7 a.m. You'd go take a shower, get it done as fast as possible so you don't run out of hot water, but then step out into like probably 50 degrees because everything outside is, you know, sub 20.
That sounds terrible.
Just the worst. It was
and you probably
awful.
do because the water traffic of what time you're fucking like taking a shower at, like you probably run out of the water instantaneously. Like most of my time in New York, I had a weird like, as a producer, my schedule was a little different. So like I would go into work around like 11 o'clock. So like the water traffic wasn't there. For people that don't know, in New York City, because it's like a giant, very dense area, everyone has city water there, and we're all sharing the water at the same time. So if you're trying to take a shower around like 7 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, or like 7 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock at night, good luck getting hot water unless like you're in some crazy luxury building that can pull it off. But like most places, good luck, because you're competing with everyone else to take a shower at that time, and it's impossible to get hot water because like you're taking turns getting it. So like that was the one nice thing. Like if I had to like go take a shower that early in the morning, I'd usually be at the gym at that time anyway, so I'd take it there where they'd have priority. But like no, I would never ever take a shower at home at those times. Like I would have like to like work around that time, or else like you just don't get hot water. So like I would take it at really late at night, like midday morning at like 10 o'clock or something before I'd go to work if I did that, because that's the only time I would get like hot water. It was insane.
That really baffles me, right? Because like we don't have those issues in LA, but then again we have less people as well. So wow, that's so interesting to hear that like you share like a water network. I mean, obviously every city does, but the fact that like the one in New York just isn't enough.
It's super dense. The only two cities that are like as dense as we are was like Beijing and Tokyo. I think that those are the two. Because remember, we have 8.8 million people in a very, very tiny little area. Versus like
you say we have, you're not there anymore. Don't lie.
I know, I miss it every single day. He's
still in New York at heart.
Yeah,
I am. But no, because like that's what it is. Like it's so freaking dense, and it's not like the city of Philadelphia is square miles a lot bigger. Same thing with like places like Charlotte and like a lot of like Kansas City. Those places are physically bigger, but they've such less people. Like I think Philadelphia only has like 3 million people or something in it, and it's a lot more spread out, where like there's like row homes and everything everywhere. Like, it's very different. It's a very different environment. Like people don't understand, like New York City is just its own beast in itself. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean Dallas is big and there's a lot of people here, but everything is like massively spread out across. Like New York has the boroughs, but Dallas has like DFW, so it's like probably 20 towns and cities, probably more, I don't know, like all just kind of mixed around, and so there's just houses everywhere. It's like a city built out of suburbs. It's really weird.
That's how a lot of cities are. They're you say you're in the city, but like you're in a suburb outside of the city. You're like, no, I still live there. Like I feel like a lot of people in LA do that too. They're like, I live in LA. It's like, no, you don't. You live like
It's really annoying when people do that too. Where like, especially when people ask me, where are you from in LA? I'm like, I'm from Los Angeles. But like, yeah, but like, what part of LA? Like, are you in like Palmdale or something? I'm like, no, that's not LA. I'm from LA, like the actual city of LA.
I live in this like fucking weird part of Dallas where, I mean, Evan, you came up to where I was. From downtown Dallas to where I live, It's pretty far. Everything in Dallas is 15 minutes, so to say a time would not help.
Far.
It was not that far. It was, but it's a few miles.
Yeah.
And I am surrounded by several other cities, but somehow, some gerrymandering shit, Dallas stretches all the way up to where I am. And it's just this weird little area that then somehow ends up back in downtown Dallas. But everything else is a block in any other direction is a different city for some reason. There's a different town. 1 second. I'm sorry. I am about to shit in my pants.
And you wanted to not talk about shit. You're saying you're about to shit.
No, I'm saying we need to cut this out because I need to go so bad. I need to go so bad.
This man's out here being like, can we not talk
about I'm not even going to listen. I'm not going to take this shit. I need to poop.
Understand that I leave these in there. I leave these in for the video part of it. The audio parts of it I take out, but the video part I have marked in each video and I just leave them in there. So if you watch the newest episode, there's a solid point where me and Evan are just sitting here too talking and we're herp derp because Steve had to go to the bathroom again.
He couldn't even wait 20 more minutes for us to finish the episode. He was just I need to shit now. Why are you and my girlfriend so close?
What do you mean? Oh my god! Did you
guys
see?
Just really great friends now?
Have you read? Did you see what the? Did you see what we were talking about in DMs yesterday? I hope she talked about it.
No, I did not see what you.
Oh, well,
she talked about it a little bit, where she was like, "Why does Dickie talk like a black girl in the DMs?" That was legitimately what she said. I was like, "What?"
That's the New York part that comes back out at me.
Why is it that?
How was your shitting, Steve?
It was great.
You sure?
And yes, I was reminded of something while I was in there.
Okay, cool.
Because I've started to get Twitter ads for another brand new adult cartoon from Fox or Adult Swim or whatever the fuck.
Okay.
Why is it that every quote-unquote cartoon for adults that comes out in America is ugly as sin? I don't need every cartoon to look like anime. I don't want it to. But every fucking adult cartoon is the ugliest shit.
Because it's supposed to be crude looking. What other adult? Wait, what are you gonna? What adult cartoon are you gonna say is ugly?
Rick and Morty, BoJack Horseman.
Those are great art styles. They're very specific for what they're supposed to be. BoJack Horseman looks great.
Big Mouth is hideous.
Okay, no, that
I will agree with you on the Big Mouth.
Big Mouth.
There's so many now. There's some new one that's about dogs that's hideous. Brickleberry, Paradise PD, I think is one. Every single.
Heard of half of these.
Yeah, no, they're all ugly as shit. That's why.
I don't
Rick and Morty works. Rick and Morty's very crude and it's supposed
Rick and Morty
to look like that.
works, but it's still ugly. And when it's surrounded by a bunch of ugly shit, it doesn't stick out anymore.
The Newgrounds style, right? How Newgrounds define their adult animations with those really grotesque looking animations. I think that's just basically what other networks have done in terms of adult animations as well. They make it look grotesque, so I guess parents could probably easily identify, okay, this is not for children, right?
Yeah, I think that also does help because I probably imagine the amount of times that parents let their kids watch South Park or Family Guy because it looks normal and you're like, wait a damn minute, this is not. Especially South Park. South Park does not look like it's bad. I remember watching South Park when I was little and just turning on TV and not understanding what I was watching and having my mom turn it off and be like, what are you watching? Because she'd actually listen to it because it just looks like, I'm sorry, you look at Cartman doesn't look like a genuinely bad looking character, and then he opens his mouth and you're like, Oh no!
He said the shit word. Oh no!
He was very racist. Oh god! Oh, and anti-Semitic. All in the same sentence. Good, great. Turn these off. This is a terrible influence. Don't get me wrong. I love South Park, but also going back, BoJack Horseman does not look bad. It looks. I love how BoJack Horseman looks. It's a bunch of animals. It looks fine. Are you gonna make fun of how Bob's Burgers looks too?
Yes.
Wow, you're just wrong. You're dumb and you're wrong.
No,
Bob's
it
Burgers
also looks
great. I love how
Are you saying you don't like The Simpsons?
Okay, here. I feel like The Simpsons gets a pass for being first, and that was just Matt Groening. That was just his art style. That's how he always drew things. But now everything else tries to look the same. I'm gonna send you. This isn't even the show I was thinking of, but I'm gonna send you to a tweet that from Adult Swim. I just want you to, like, look at the art style. And, like, tell me that you want to put that on your TV and watch it.
Okay, for audio listeners, it's I don't. What am I looking at here? I don't know.
No,
right?
This is gonna be in the edit. Like, yeah, for audio listeners, I don't know what to tell you. Audio listeners, if you've ever seen the show Super Jail, I'm pretty sure it's the same people that do Super Jail. It looks really ugly. Like, Okay, actually, I kind of understand what you mean, Steve, because actually Super Jail was really freaking ugly looking, and I never knew why it was on Adult Swim. I think like, those are shows that are like, when Adult Swim is supposed to be that, like, that's what that kind of stuff is on Adult Swim for. You're not seeing it on Fox, or you're not seeing it on NBC. You're seeing it on Adult Swim. Also, these are shows that are on at like 2 a.m. Like, the only people are like zonked out and stoned and on drugs, like out of their minds, so it's entertaining to them. Or
14
sleeping.
You're just like, or 14, or like you just can't sleep and like there's nothing else to watch. You're like derpy enough at nighttime to like be like, sure, we'll watch this, because like there's a lot of things on Netflix that are like look like this. Just shows that are adult cartoon shows like this are just derpy and weird looking, but you'll watch them because you're like, it's 2 a.m. What else am I gonna on a Thursday? What else am I supposed to do? I'm trying to sleep, but I can't. So fuck it. Here we go. You can only watch Friends for the 780 millionth time, so like let's watch something else weird. And you're like, why am I watching this? But you're too tired to change the channel. That's like half of Adult Swim stuff, I feel like
there's no reason for it to be ugly though. Like there's no reason.
Well, again, like I described earlier, it's just I think so parents can distinguish what's a kid's show and what's an adult show, right? Because without that, I think a lot of parents would probably just put on anything for their child to watch.
Well, if you're that worried about it, like for Fox, it's a specific like block on Friday nights or whatever.
Okay.
And Adult Swim is 2 a.m. And Netflix, there's YouTube Kids. So it's like there's no way your kid's gonna stumble upon Bob's Burgers these days.
You mentioned YouTube Kids. YouTube Kids was trending earlier today, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was, because there was a parent that was really upset that when they typed baby into the search bar on YouTube, Lil Nas's new video comes up where obviously everyone's naked. But like, the reason YouTube Kids was trending was because everyone was essentially calling that parent a bad parent, because they're like, how can you be a parent and not recognize that, one, not only does YouTube have parental controls, but two, there is an entirely different app known as YouTube Kids. Why would you just go to YouTube and type baby into the search bar?
To be fair, I did not know any of this existed until you just told me. And B,
did you know YouTube Kids existed?
No, I didn't. And B, if you told me someone looked up baby, I would have thought Justin Bieber first.
Yeah, apparently that was one of the first results for her. It was Lil Nas's new video, but like, still,
that's insane.
Yeah,
right?
the existence of YouTube Kids was like a really controversial thing. About a year ago, I think, when they were like, so we're gonna add this thing where you have to manually tag whether or not this content is for children, and if it is for children, you're basically never gonna get monetized. And if it's not for children, we're going to hide it more in the algorithm because it's not suitable for all audiences. So, like, you were just fucked either way. And they said, you have a platform called YouTube Kids. Why are you screwing over normal content creators? Or, like, because stuff for kids have like, the weirdest rules on them. Yeah. That's why, like, there's all these weird rules for content for kids too that just makes no sense. Like the comments are always turned off, and like if you're on your phone or on mobile, the mini player, like when you slide it down to look at other stuff, doesn't work. It just goes, you can't do that with content made for kids. It's like, why can't I watch a clip of Power Rangers or like whatever the fuck when I slide the thing down? Why does it need to stop playing? How is that going to hurt the child? Like,
just you explain this to me is like really weird in my head. But like then again, I guess it makes sense for like the basis that like when we were all kids, we watched things like Nick Jr. and like the I forget what the Disney one was, but like there was Playhouse
Disney Jr.
There was Playhouse Disney or Disney Jr.
Yes.
But like they already, I guess on cable television they already had those like blocks, and it only makes sense like it's a transition that would happen where you have more kids trending to watching things on YouTube and Netflix
actually,
and all things like that. Because there's so many people that just don't get cable anymore, so like they still need their kids to be entertained by watching something. So it actually makes a lot more sense. Like I feel like YouTube implements things that make perfect sense, and they just a lot of times screw it up royally somehow. Like it's like coding. They take code and they say we're gonna fix one thing, and by fixing that one thing, they break 12 other things, and they go, well, this is fine.
It was more so the issue that like the kids app has existed for years, but I guess they just never really advertised it enough. So a lot of parents were just using the regular YouTube app, and they didn't use parental control. So YouTube was like, okay, well, I guess we just have to police the regular app a little bit more, right? Yeah. Like for instance, also mentioning that now that a lot of like kids, I guess, are consuming things online, HBO conveniently enough today also released their, I guess, HBO Kids. It's called Cartoonio or whatever, and it's like built into the HBO Max app, I believe, or something like that. So your kids can go to the Cartoonio part of the app and not have to see adult content there, which is just really strange. But yeah.
Oh man, I remember being little and like wanting to watch anything on HBO, and my parents would never let me because like I don't know why, but like I think the stigma when we were kids was like HBO was like pretty much just porn. Like that was just HBO was just porn stuff.
HBO,
and that's what you were gonna
because it was
what they called it.
That's what it was, though.
It was like everything that they couldn't get away with on normal TV. So it was nudity and way more hard cussing and violence because it was a premium channel.
I don't even know what shows were on HBO like back in like the 90s.
Oh, I have no idea. I just remember the porn.
But
Steve,
actually, that also reminded me. In the 90s? Yeah, it was. Born in
Steve, how old were you in 98?
In the 90s.
How old were you in 98? Exactly.
Yeah, you're not a 90s
You're
kid.
not a 90s kid.
No.
You don't
okay.
the 90s.
No.
So you when Steve did his whole entire thing the other day. No. When Steve did his whole entire when Steve did his whole entire shtick the other day, and he like talked to all of us, and he was like, I just kind of like left randomly and everything. Can we talk about that real quick? He was talking to people like me. He was talking to me specifically. He was not talking to you because you had Joe. You did not have Steve. And if you had Steve, you were watching reruns of Steve. You did not have new episodes of Steve like me and Evan had.
What are you talking about? That is not true. I watched fucking Steve growing up. Like I remember when
because
Steve
it came
left.
out in 96. You were 2 when he left.
Yeah, okay, what?
2001.
Hold on.
He left.
When did Joe leave? I remember very clearly watching the episode where Joe replaced Steve.
I think maybe everyone watched that episode.
When did Joe replace Steve on Blue's Clues? Hold on. 2002. Fuck you.
How
was
old
like
were you in
5.
2002? You were not 5 in 2002.
I was born in 97. That's 5 years, fucker.
He still wasn't talking to you. You didn't spend all of those years.
Yes, he was.
I spent all those years with Steve.
All of my young years. No, fuck you.
You did not. You don't.
The show started like 1 year before I was born. What are you talking about? 1 year before I was born is still like
you watched all those reruns.
Most of my childhood.
I was there. I was watching the new episodes every weekday when Steve came out. You don't know. No.
Anyways, no, I'm not letting Dickie. I'm not letting Dickie.
We're just discussing our parasocial relationship with Steve from Blue's Clues.
This is mine. Stop taking it. Steve was mine.
What is happening right now?
I will gatekeep this to the day I die. You are not old enough. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You are just wrong.
From the reruns? From the reruns? No, absolutely not.
No.
I will get heated about this.
Through 2002, I was the prime audience. That show is like 4 3-year-olds. Are you telling me that you were watching it when you were 6? Because that's way more sad.
Anyway, guys, this is this week's hypothetical.
I did watch
Dickie,
it. We
take
did
it
watch
away.
it. No. This is when we watched it. You would watch it when you were 6 because you were getting home from like kindergarten because kindergarten was like half a day, like half the day school day, right? So you would get home and you would watch Blue's Clues and whatever was else Nick Jr. because that was the time.
Nick Jr. ended at like noon. Nick Jr. ended at like noon. What are you talking about?
No, it did not.
It's like for preschool, like preschoolers. Like what the fuck are you talking about?
Preschoolers. There was like the early episodes were like the early things at like 9 a.m. were for like preschoolers when like Phase was on and everything. But like the last few, that's why they timed it at certain times so that like later kids would be on to watch it later on. It's the same way that they did Kids WB. Like the later, do you guys remember Kids WB like on Saturdays? Like the later in the day it got, the more mature. Like that's where they put on the more mature animes like Yu-Gi-Oh. But like the really like little kid episodes and things, they would put those on at like 7 and 8 in the morning. Nick Jr. did the same thing.
Anyway, ignoring Dickie.
Fuck you, Steve was mine.
There's the.
We'll get really passionate
This
about
also
this.
reminded me that like, because last year I was working at a school and I dealt with like 3rd and 4th graders a lot, and they were talking about watching anime and like watching things like My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer, and part of me is like, I know adults who watch those things. You're not like, you should not be watching that. But then I think, no, like they're around the actual ideal age to be watching those things. It's just that our sense of what kids should be allowed to watch in America is so much more strict in a lot of ways that like it was so weird to think like, oh no, like Demon Slayer and My Hero are meant for like 4th grade through 7th grade. Like that's the actual audience, and we're weird for watching it as adults.
We are like, no, that is exactly. I saw someone tweet about this the other day. They're like bitching about how like they're like, people think anime is for kids because it's cartoons and all this stuff. Like there's such a mature adult themes to this, and you're gonna tell me things like Naruto is actually made for a kid? No, this is made for people who are like in their 20s and everything. I'm like, and I read that and I was like, this is the most cringeworthy tweet I've ever seen in my life. No,
shonen literally means young boy. It like literally is for children.
For children.
We are the weird ones for watching it at this age.
Yeah.
No, this is made for like kids in Japan that are like 10 to 12. Like that's what like Naruto was like made for. That's what like Pokemon is made for. It's weird that we watch it. Like I love watching it, like, but like a lot of these shows, when Gravity Falls came out, like I know so many people in their 20s that love Gravity Falls. Same thing with like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like we'd still love it to this day. Like, but when we watch things like Avatar: The Last Airbender, we were the correct age to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. If I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender now, it's kind of weird. Like, don't get me wrong, amazing show, amazing like stories and life lessons in it to this day still, but like it's not made for us, and I don't understand
There's so
why people
much
try
stuff.
to normalize that it is for us. Like it's not. My Hero Academia is not for us. It's for teenagers and like tweens. That's who it's made for, not us. That's why when like you see people sexualizing these like characters, it's weird. It's even weirder because like it's not for us. Why are you sexualizing that? Yeah. That's like if I sexualize Stewie. That's weird.
Obviously, like Death Note's not made for kids, and I guess that wouldn't have been shown in Jump.
But I feel like they are still made for kids. They're maybe not made for kids, but like they're made for like young adults, like kids and they're teenagers still.
Yeah,
like that's made for someone.
But like that kind of thing, you can appreciate at any age. Like, but like Cowboy Bebop's not made for kids. I want to fuck my stepsister too is not made for kids. Whatever. Insert whatever incest harem anime you want here.
I feel like those are made for teenagers.
But like
high school DD,
but like DD also like into college.
Sure, but like you're still a teenager in college, like, but like that's not made for like. Whenever I go to conventions and I see these like people that are like, I like, don't get me, you can like whatever you want to like. No one is judging you for liking it. It's that if you're gatekeeping and saying this is specifically for people my age, like, no, it's not. Like, if you're watching, like, lolly girl idol shows at the age of 27, that's weird. That's weirder than, like, the 13-year-old girl that's watching it. Like, that's who it's made for. That's why we have fond memories watching things like Sailor Moon and Pokemon. Because, like, when we were kids watching it, it was made for us as kids. You can't go back to Sailor Moon and Pokemon and be like, yeah, this is really good. Like, do you remember everyone got super excited when Pokemon got put on Netflix? And everyone's like, I get to watch the Indigo League all over again. Have you ever tried rewatching that? It's so hard. Terrible. It's so cringeworthy, and it's so freaking bad. Terrible. It's terrible. Like, you can go back and, like, watch the you can watch, like, the...
I mean, like, the dubbing practices back then were also fucked. Thanks, Saban, you piece of shit. I'm a Power Rangers fan. I'm allowed to call out Chaim Saban. No. He's speaking of
Saban, that's actually funny. Speaking of Saban, that is my hypothetical for the week. That literally is it. If you could be a Power Ranger, what would be your color? What would be your power? And what would be your weapon? Because, like, you remember every single, like, Power Ranger, there was, like, everyone... Like, we all know the Red Ranger is, like, the leader and a lot of things.
Seen
blah, 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 it's fine. But, like,
every season Power Rangers.
Everyone has, like, has ones their weapons. Everyone has, like, their superpower, whatever it is later in. But, like, what would it be?
I don't think you understand how much I love Power Rangers. I literally have, like, bins in my closet of Power Rangers toys from my childhood and, like, my brother when he was a kid. I watched so much Power Rangers growing up.
That's another perfect example. If you watch it today, it's weird. If you watched it when you were a teenager or, like, a kid, it makes perfect sense.
It definitely makes sense, yeah.
I met adults that are like, they still watch Power Rangers to this day, and they're like, it's normal. Like, it's maybe, no, it's not. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. That's weird.
I mean, I have friends who still watch it.
That's like that. You can't like you can
okay.
enjoy it, but
to be fair,
normal.
To be fair, yeah, it's not normal. But the reason that they tend to watch it is not because it's like necessarily as good. It's more of a like a lifelong thing where it's like I have to watch it. I've spent sunk cost fallacy. Like I've watched so much Power Rangers, I might as well see what the new one is. But also,
but it's not like One Piece where like it's the same. But like, isn't I thought that like Super Sentai, like how that kind of stuff, like
it is.
I didn't think it was a continuing story. I thought it was just like
when you think about. No, yeah, every season is different, but like actually, Power Rangers has started to introduce a lot of like weird lore stuff. Like they started making comics that actually do skew older, because it's like Mighty Morphin stuff, so it's all stuff for like fans who were watching in the 90s, and like they started introducing a bunch of lore. I know a lot about Power Rangers. They started introducing a bunch of like lore to everything, and so like the new season is like weird, like started bringing in stuff from the comics, and they're saying like, oh, we're not actually going to adapt anything anymore. Everything's going to be like original or based on this stuff. Like there's a Mighty Morphin series being made for Netflix by the dude who directed. He either directed or wrote like End of the Fucking World, whatever that series was, that like teen series. So like they're trying to like skew it older now because they're banking more on the nostalgic fans than they are the kids, which is an interesting take. Short answer, orange is my color, because it's my favorite color. And there hasn't really been an Orange Ranger. In actuality, no. In technicality, one character has a fantasy segment where he is an Orange Ranger, and it's just a recolored like helmet and suit from a different season. And he's like, "I'm the Orange Ranger," and like that's it. Okay. There's never been an Orange Power Ranger. I will just leave it at that. There's never been an Orange Power Ranger.
Power Rangers is weird that like it just existed for so long. Like, you ever realize like how long ago it came out? Like, I love the story of Power Rangers.
Yes, I wrote a senior thesis about it.
I just like we're gonna. Why?
Yeah, we're just gonna gloss over that real quickly.
Like, are we actually gonna answer the hypotheticals?
No, I just the history of Power Rangers is really interesting to me because like it. I mean, to me, like, I don't really care about Power Rangers itself, but I think it's just amazing how like they bought the right to like have all the Power Rangers footage, and then what they shot for 2 months or something like that to have all the school scenes with all like the American like teenagers like shooting their scenes, but like they just use all the other footage, like, and I never knew that as a kid, and I don't think many kids knew that.
Yeah.
Like, that those people, like when you saw like Tommy and Tom, like when you saw Tommy like doing his thing, that wasn't really Tommy. Tommy's not playing the little Green Ranger like flute thing to get the monster out. Like, that's not him. That was like insane to me when I was little, like learning them. Like, oh, that's not them. Why don't they ever take off their helmets or anything? Because like they don't, and you never realize that until like way later on. But like, it took them like 2 months to shoot all of that for the whole entire Mighty Morphin show.
Yeah, if you go back and watch just about any season, you can see a clear quality difference. But like especially in the early 2000s, those seasons, it's like night and day between the American footage and the Japanese footage. It is.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like it just suddenly gets way grainier and darker.
Yep.
Like
if you look at Dino, like Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, and SPD, that was like when I noted that.
Those are the 3 seasons. I'm talking about.
Those are the 3 seasons I watched because I was like right around the age range to like watch. That's the only Power Rangers I really remember. Unless like randomly on like JetX or Fox Box, they'd be playing the old episodes, but like those are the ones I remember. And I remember always wondering, like, especially for like Dino Thunder, like you have like a great looking camera for like all 3 of the teenagers talking and doing their thing, and then they do the action sequence, and I'm like, why does this look bad?
Yeah, it's crazy. Want to hear something even crazier? Speaking of Time Saban and Power Rangers, because you were saying like, that's what he did. He bought the rights to the Japanese footage and all that. You know who thought to do it first?
Oh, wasn't it like, I heard this story. I don't know who it is off the top of my head, but I know that someone else. Yeah, tell me.
Stan Lee
Yes, that was it. That was okay.
Yeah, Stan Lee was going to make Power Rangers first, but the Marvel execs weren't sold on it, much like nobody else was sold on it when Haim Saban brought it to America and tried to sell the pilot. The only person who believed in him was Margaret Lesh, because she's the one who worked with Stan Lee on the initial version.
Wow.
Yes. And they were going to sell it to HBO and do the exact same thing where they were just going to cut out the action footage and film an American storyline over it. And that's why, like, there's the Japanese Spider-Man, was because they had a deal with Marvel at the time where, like, Marvel could have taken anything they wanted, like, in that deal. They just didn't. And Spider-Man's robot was so popular that's why they started introducing robots into Sentai, because it sold so well.
Knowing very little about Power Rangers, to answer the hypothetical, I'd probably be the Green Ranger, and my power would be to grow trees.
Wait, did you know?
Yeah, you know nothing about Power Rangers, huh?
No.
Really?
Wow.
That's
crazy. I've seen it, obviously, right? But
it's like everywhere.
I didn't like really invest too much time into it, right? Like Dino Thunder was my favorite, but it was just I like the.
That's the
action,
correct answer.
Yeah.
Dino Thunder is the best one.
Yeah.
But like, so you didn't have? Did you have Power Rangers back in Belize, or like was it just not something you ever really watched or cared about?
Well, no, we definitely had it, right? Like we had cable, we could see things on TV, but
well, no, I know you had cable, but like
something...
I didn't know if you had all the access to all the channels and everything. Like,
no, we didn't have access to all the channels, but yes, Power Rangers was one of the things that we had access to, and I don't think anyone really cared for it too much back then. So yeah,
cowards.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Power Rangers, like when I was very little, I thought Power Rangers were really stupid. And I think, like, when I got to elementary school is when I actually started watching a little bit more. Because I'm like, oh, this is kind of neat. Because I think Power Rangers is very campy. Like, it's just a very campy show, especially the older versions of it. And I think it took it to, like, Ninja Storm until it felt a little less campy. And I think, for me,
Ninja Storm is the most campy. What?
I didn't think so. Not versus, like, Mighty Morphin. But, like, I think the thing for me is, like, so I watched Jetix. Do you guys remember Jetix?
Oh, yeah.
I sort of remember Jetix, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember watching Jetix for certain, like, it had a bunch of shows besides this. Like, it had Digimon on it. It had, Metabots. It had Power Rangers, and it had, like, I forgot what other shows it had on it. But, like, I remember, like, watching that, like, on ABC Family when I was little, and then it moved to Toon Disney, whatever it was. But I remember watching it on ABC Family, and I think like Power Rangers would come on after Digimon, and I would end up watching Power Rangers for that reason. I think it was between Digimon and Beyblade, but I would watch Power Rangers for that reason, just to get through it. And then I was like, I just started enjoying it for some reason, and I don't know why. I think it was just advertised a lot, and I know I think it was like advertised like crazy when Disney like took them as like a major property of theirs, because like there was a Disney store in my mall. And they had so much Power Rangers merch at all times. And it was like, hey, do you like Power Rangers? I'm like, kind of, sort of. It's like, here's your Power Ranger stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. To answer to answer my own hypothetical, I would probably choose... It was funny, I was going to go with the Green Ranger 2, Green or White Ranger, simply because, like...
The power to grow
feel
trees.
Like... No, that would not be my power.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm not Captain Planet. I was like the Green Ranger because I thought Tommy was so cool. Tommy was my favorite Power Ranger back in the day. The dude could like summon a freaking like sea monster. Like that's the coolest thing in the world to me. And I like would have loved to have that power. Like be able to summon monsters at like just like summon them like freaking Naruto. Be like, I'm gonna summon a monster. Here you go. That would be the coolest thing. I would not have his dumb little flute sword thing. That was kind of stupid in my opinion. Like
the dragon dagger. Coward.
It was tiny. Wait. It was tiny. It was too tiny. Like I want something a lot cooler. Like I want like the double blasters. Like that would be freaking cool. Like you're gonna tell me the dragon dagger is cooler than blasters because like some of the Power Ranger blasters are really freaking cool looking.
My answer is orange. So I'd probably end up being like a 6th Ranger. So I would come in like later. I'd be the dude who like shows up later and it's like like Tommy
that's
did.
The coolest dude though. That's the person you want to be though, because like the White Ranger and Dino Thunder too.
And I feel like I don't know. I feel like it'd be like an axe. I don't know why. I just feel like I would have an axe. like that would be.
I
the
respect
weapon.
that.
I guess
That's kind of cool.
I guess
Like
if
a
I had to
fireman
choose
axe.
weapon, it would be a lance.
A lance.
Like a
That's
long lance?
new.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a lance. There's
Where are you
been,
gonna hide a lance? Like, how are you gonna hold a lance? Just like hold it. Like, what would you do with that? How do you use a lance? I
It could
thought
be
they were like
one
only
of
for
the
like.
ones where you like fucking, you hit a button and then like, well, that's a staff, more like.
Yeah,
Never mind.
there's
That's a baton.
I blame you. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm
No.
taking over from Dickie just so that we can
do
have
a
better
better outro.
I am the ending
do it.
person.
Bye.
Shush your face.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope you enjoyed our third episode of Attempts Were Made. We definitely made attempts, and we got our second episode out last week, and we're going to get this episode out. And next week, we're going to have a special guest, which is freaking awesome. So I hope you're all excited for that one. As always, sorry. My name has been Shirdathan, that is Stev, and we have Yvonne over there, and this was talking about the economy of Kosovo. I hope you enjoyed it, and next week we will be talking about the economy of the ex-nation of Prussia. We will see you then. Please do not forget to support us on... please do not...
Just support us everywhere, links are in the description. Goodbye, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Love you.
I'm stopping the recording. Goodbye.
See ya.
No, not that part.